Welcome back again to Joe Stunner Boxing. Thanks for joining me. I don't often do videos about fights that are a long way away because they tend to get cancelled or postponed or something happens. There's, someone replaces someone else and, it's a waste of time. But I wanted to talk about Naoya and Inoue of Japan and Stephen Fulton of America because they've been matched up at 122. Currently, Inoue is the undisputed bantamweight champ and Fulton is a unified 122-pounder super bantam. So I think this is such a great matchup that I thought I'd do a little, very much a preview. I mean, it's not scheduled, I think, until May, and we're only at the start of March. But let's talk a bit about these fighters because I want to explain why I think this is such a great matchup. So Inoue, if you go back to, let's talk about their respective records. Inoue, if you go back to 2014, he won his first world title, which was the WBC World Light Fly title. And he defended it, I think, 2 or 3 times. He also won the WBO Superfly title. I think that was in 2014 as well. Was it the same year? I can't remember. I know he jumped up. I think it was. It might have been the same year. And he defended that a bunch of times. And he jumped right over flyweight. I don't know why. Maybe he couldn't make the weight. Maybe he couldn't get the fights. But he defended that Superfly title. I mean, it must have been about 5 or 6 times. I can't count offhand. I can't remember offhand exactly how many it was. And then he moved up to bantamweight, and that was in 2018. So he was at Superfly for quite some time, for a few years. Then he moved up in 2018 to bantamweight. Fought Jamie McDonald, wiped him out in a round. McDonald was, I mean, if ever you've seen a fighter who's weight drained, McDonald was weight drained. That was disturbing to see. I mean, he was so gaunt. And predictably, it came as no surprise when Inoue just wiped him out in a round and took his WBA bantam title. And he then went on a run where, I mean, he got rid of Juan Carlos Piano in a round. That was, I think, a first defense of the WBA title. Emmanuel Rodriguez lasted 2 rounds, I think. And he had that incredible fight in 2019 with Nonito Donaire, where he survived a busted eye socket. And did he have a damaged hand as well? I can't remember. But anyway, that was for the WBA IBF titles. It was a unification. A fantastic fight, probably fight of the year. Maybe Josh Taylor, Prograis was fight of the year. I don't know. There wasn't much in it. And then he carried on winning, picking up belts. Picked up the WBC Bantam title. So that was against Donaire in the rematch. He wiped him out in 2 rounds. Again, an incredible performance of poise, power, precision, boxing ability. I mean, an incredible performance to just destroy Donaire in 2 rounds. Regardless of whether Donaire was older, it didn't matter. Donaire had been looking good leading up to that point, and he was the WBC champ. Didn't stand on earthly against Inoue, and then he finally won the final belt at the back end of last year in December by knocking out Paul Butler in 11 rounds. Butler didn't even try to win. He just sort of hung around, moved so much, it was embarrassing. He just tried to survive the distance and get, I suppose, a moral victory. He didn't even do that because he got knocked out in the 11th. Inoue can do everything. He punches at the body beautifully. He's incredibly hard punching with both hands. Any particular punch you care to mention. He's got a granite jaw. He's got the heart of an absolute lion. He's a tiny guy, but to survive a busted eye socket against Donaire quite early on in that fight and to go the distance, and he floored Donaire with body punches as well. I mean, he's an incredible fighter. And, you can talk about fighting Harada, who was himself a very great fighter. But yeah, Donaire's only had 24 fights, 21 knockouts. He's won the lot, no draws, no defeats. But I'm thinking he's the greatest Japanese fighter ever. He's probably achieved the most, even in this multi-belt. The multi-belt era, people sort of deride it a bit, don't they? They sort of say, well, it's sort of, you've got to bear in mind that, in the old days there were only 8 divisions and there weren't all these other belts and blah, blah, blah. Well, okay, I take that all on board, but let's be honest here. Inoue is, even in the multi-belt era, has proved himself again and again. He's a great fighter. Then you got Stephen Fulton. And Fulton, am I right in saying he's a career 122-pounder? I think he is. So you would presume that as he's fighting someone who came up originally from light flyweight, won his first title at light flyweight, he's the much bigger man. And he probably is. I mean, he is, I suppose, in terms of size. He's certainly, obviously, more used to the super bantam division, whereas Inoue hasn't fought at super bantam. I don't think he's fought anyone who's... Has he fought anyone who's fought at super bantam? I don't think he has. But make no mistake about it, Stephen Fulton's a threat to Inoue. I mean, he's 28, so he's 2 years... Is he 2 years older than... No, a year younger than Inoue, I think. And he's 5'7", which is taller than Inoue, but he's not massively so. But certainly his bone density is probably bigger. He might be physically stronger. I would imagine he would be. We'll see. But he's a very, very good fighter. He currently holds the WBC and WBO super bantam titles. I think he won Angelo Leo was the guy he won the WBO against. I know that. And then I think he picked up the WBC from Brandon Figueroa. And that was quite recently. That only goes back to 2021. So he hasn't been a world champion for anywhere near as long as Inoue has. He does have 21 fights, Fulton, but only 8 are by KO. So he likes to box, but he is an extremely good boxer. And I thought against Brandon Figueroa, he looked extremely impressive. He contained a very dangerous guy. Brandon Figueroa, he can wallop. He's a good fighter, and he's a very good front forward offensive fighter with a lot of knockouts on his record. And he didn't get close to Fulton. Fulton controlled him and contained him. Figueroa's been down at featherweight, but I think he's got a fight coming up at featherweight, hasn't he? Yeah, he has actually. With it's this weekend. But Fulton, he didn't really get close to Fulton. I mean, it was a majority decision and not a unanimous one. But I watched that fight and I thought Fulton won it. I thought he won it by 3 points maybe. I think 2 of the judges had it 116, 112. One had it 114, 114, I think it was. And Angelo Leo, that was a unanimous decision. That was very wide, though, when he won his WBO title. Leo at the time was undefeated, though. So Fulton is... You could probably say, well, Fulton, no, he's won a couple of world belts, but he hasn't made his presence felt in his division in the same way, or in boxing in general, in the same way that Naoya Inoue has. Inoue is considered one of the best fighters in the world. And some people have him top of the pound-for-pound list, which is always a subjective thing. You're comparing a bantamweight to a heavyweight. It's very difficult. But I really think Fulton potentially could beat Inoue. Is this a bridge too far for Inoue? Is it a division too far for Inoue? Or will he be able to bring that power and that precision and the speed as well? I mean, Inoue's speed is kind of amazing. I don't know. It all remains to be seen, but I just think this is such a fantastic matchup with a pure boxer, Fulton, against an absolute killer in Inoue. It's, I'm almost tempted to say this is like Roberto Duran, the first fight with Sugar Ray Leonard, although Leonard did have a bit more pop than Fulton does. He was a bit more of a killer than Fulton. Fulton is a clinical guy. He's a kind of it's chess with Fulton. He doesn't try to knock you out. He tries to completely outbox you and bewilder you and befuddle you and totally stick you in a little compound, in a little box, and keep you there. And does it very, very well. So that you're kind of frustrated and don't know what to do and you're second guessing yourself. And very, very good boxer, Fulton. So I'm really looking forward to this. What are your opinions on this? Do you think, what are your opinions, first of all, on the two fighters? Do you think Fulton and Inoue are, worthy of their status, their respective statuses? I do. I accept that Fulton hasn't quite proved himself as much as Inoue, but I do think he's very, very good. Leave your comments below. I want to hear your comments about this. And Are you looking forward to it? Oh, I'd imagine if you like boxing, you are looking forward to it. And yeah, thanks a lot for your time. Of course, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. This is going to be a good one. Let's please hope that it isn't cancelled or someone gets injured or something happens. But I will definitely do a preview video for this. I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, comments below. Thanks a lot. Speak soon and bye for now.